Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm doing a chat draw with me. I'm going to be talking about drawing challenges, especially because October is coming, and that is like the #1 drawing challenge month. This is a sketchbook I made. So this is a piece of the Canford paper Imperial from Dollar Rowney. This is the Mocha, and it was a 20 by 30 inch, and I saddle stitched it using a sea lemon tutorial that I can link below. Anyway, I've been doing portraits and then I splatter them. I don't even know if you can see this. It looks cool in person. I splatter them with Holbein's Brilliant Gold Gouache on top. I'll do a sketchbook tour when I'm done. You can kind of see that one. Anyway, so here's the Holbein Brilliant Gold, and then I have an empty watercolor pan. I put it in here and let it dry, and then I put water in here and it creates like a faux watercolor metallic that I can splatter on. But I'm not adding too much water to this just because I don't know how this paper handles wet media. So I just thought a little splash of metallics would be good. I'm using the Pentel brush pen, but I have long since run out of ink. So I have, this is carbon ink from Platinum, and I think this is like down to here. This is a very heavy jar. It's like bottom heavy because how thick the glass is at the bottom. So I think this is over half empty. Eventually I'll have to get a new black ink because the brush on this is fine. Like, it's very good. So I just keep refilling this bottom component. I unscrew it and I take like tweezers or a nail file and I pop out this black stopper that goes all the way down, and I just use, I know it's why my hands are covered in ink, so just ignore all the ink all over my fingers. I use a pipette and just fill it up. Okay, those supplies, everything I'm using will be linked in the description box below, and let's get started talking about this. So October is coming. Are you ready? I'm not ready. I need to bind a sketchbook using my roll. I have a Strathmore 500, but let's talk about what it means to do a drawing challenge. And I feel very qualified to talk about this. I do back-to-back drawing challenges. I've drawn every single day since 2021. I haven't taken a day off. It's something that, I don't know, maybe it is an obsession, but it feels good to be creative and creating, and it's a stress release, and it's all these different things for me. So I really, really enjoy creating every day. I love doing different drawing challenges. I love filling sketchbooks. I love using all my supplies. I love doing a no-buy art supply and a low-buy art supply. I love doing these things and challenging myself within other challenges. So if you've never done a drawing challenge before, I need you to assess like what your October looks like. Is your October a month? I know. I'm drawing and talking in real time. So this is how fast I create with this pen. I need you to assess like how your October typically looks, and think back, maybe check your checking account and see, do you do big expenditures? Do you travel? Like, what goes on in your October? Because if your October is super busy, trying to add a drawing challenge is going to be a challenge unto itself, and that may not be fair to you, because the object of all this is to have a successful October drawing and creating and doing the things you enjoy. So look at your Octobers. What have you learned in the past? Like, you know, is it something where the weather is bad and so you're staying inside? I apologize for the loud cars. I love my neighbors. Anyway, they have some really loud vehicles. Hi, neighbor. Anyway, so figure out what that looks like, what your mood is in October. Is it something, because I'm pretty much done with my other main hobby, which is gardening. So doing a drawing challenge in October isn't a big deal. What becomes a big deal is like using wet media in cold weather where we have a lot of humidity and drying times. Like, there's certain things to think about. Think about your weather, think about your mood, think about how you're doing in October. If you plan a huge Halloween party and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do a drawing challenge around planning a Halloween party? Make sure you allocate proper times and things like that. Like, how am I going to do this a day of, when people come over? Just really, really plan ahead, think ahead. Assess. If you have tried drawing challenges in the past and you haven't been successful, you get today, I don't know, 11 or 15 or something, and it's just not working for you. What was it about that drawing challenge that didn't work? Were you bored and it wasn't enough of a challenge? Was it too hard? Then you were doing too much. If you were looking at things online, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you were looking at other creators and going, I am not doing anything close to what they're doing, and it zapped your creativity and you found it discouraging, don't go online for October. There's nothing that says you have to post everything you do. I do it as sort of a record for myself, which is why it's such like low quality photos of everything I create every day. It's sort of my virtual check-in, so I can remember dates and things of what I'm doing. And sometimes I write down how long it takes me to do something. Like, it's just very much notes for myself. But the fact that like people follow me always blows my mind. Like, I've seen other creators out there, so I thank you. It's very humbling and very kind of you to follow me different places and stuff. So look at what you're doing and scale it accordingly. If you know that you've tried drawing challenges in the past and it was too daunting, how much time were you spending a day? Because I would never, like when I started doing this in 2021, every single day creating, I didn't start out with 3 hours a day. There's no way I would burn out. Like, there's no way to do that. So really, really think about it and start small. Do a 5-minute challenge a day. Do a 10-minute challenge. I did a 10-minute watercolor challenge and set an alarm. Again, I had really tiny kids. They were young when I was trying to do this. And the 10 minutes included cleanup. So if I didn't like start prepping at the 7-minute mark to clean up my watercolor palette and all my stuff, I was adding too much detail. I was in my head about it. I was looking for perfection. The object of this isn't always perfection. You're not always trying to create like masterful things that you're going to go on to sell and throw up in galleries. That's not really what a drawing challenge is. Part of the challenge is just to create every day. So maybe what you do instead is you get out a pencil and you start sketching and you start plans for maybe more professional pieces worth selling or showing or uploading to a web page or something. And you just do sketches, like 31 sketch ideas. And they could be thumbnails. They could be really, really tiny. What you want to do is set yourself up for success. So there's going to be a lot of prompt lists for October. I counted one year and I found over 300. Yeah, there's a lot. So you're not going to be hurting for ideas, but that's to say if you're not interested in the spooky theme, because most of them are spooky Halloween related, feel free to create your own. Feel free to create your own. You don't have to post in it. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So if you want to keep it private and just for yourself, do that. And then make lists and make notes. A great way to set yourself up for success is to have as much prepped beforehand, note-wise. So if you, for example, only love colored pencils, like that's your favorite medium. I love colored pencils, but I bought a watercolor palette and I haven't used it. And I feel kind of guilty. It's sitting on my shelf. I'm just hypothetically throwing out a scenario here. Now is not the time to get out those watercolors and try it for 31 days. It's just not. It's not a medium you're comfortable with, and you're already challenging yourself by trying to create every day, which is something you don't do. The more new things you add, the harder the challenge is going to be, and the likelihood of overwhelm happening. And once you get the overwhelm, it tanks your progress. So stick with your favorite medium. If that's colored pencil, then that's what you want to, I know this is such low light, but on my camera it looks good. It's just low light in person. I'm trying to see what I'm doing and it's really hard. So grab the colored pencils. That's the medium you're using. If you prefer working on paper, work on your favorite paper. Now is not a new time to bust out a brand new sketchbook, a brand new paper you've never used before, because what if it doesn't behave with the medium you're used to? And then it becomes a completely different challenge of trying to get stuff to behave, and it becomes frustrating and there's setbacks. So if the challenge is creating every day, and that's not something you've done before, you want to do your favorite medium, you want to use a surface you're very comfortable with, you want everything to be comfortable, and you want to use this do and draw and create or paint or whatever it is, a subject matter you love. What is something you love to create? And if that's portraits, I love portraits, then that is how you want to incorporate your 31-day drawing challenge. Again, you're setting yourself up for success, not failure. You want to be in your comfort zone, because if drawing every day isn't comfortable to you, that's the challenge. Now, adversely, if you're perfectly fine drawing every day and that's not a big deal to you, then you want to challenge yourself with a new medium, a new surface, a new subject matter. That's your challenge. You don't want to have too many challenges, and you don't want to have not enough. You've got to find sort of that sweet spot. So really check in with yourself and see what's been a success and what's been a failure. Because even if you went to do drawing challenges before and you stopped by day 12, it was still an 11-day success, right? So what was going on those 11 days? Were you listening to something that got you out of your head? Sometimes I listen to music. Sometimes I have an audiobook from one of my libraries. I have library cards to all kinds of libraries. And I'll listen to an audiobook, and that gets me out of my head, and I can just doodle and listen to, a murder mystery. I don't like true crime. Sorry, true crime aficionados. That's not my thing. But figure out how to sort of not overthink this. You don't want to get in your head and then start realizing, oh my God, how am I going to do this 31 times? Nope, we're dealing with today, and we'll look at tomorrow when tomorrow happens. So if you are drawing some things you're not familiar with, or things that you want to do more fine detail of, let's say you want to draw birds every day for 31 days. I love drawing birds. They're so colorful, and then you can do from so many different countries and be inclusive with it. Birds are just a fun subject matter. You want to first of all, you want to make a list. Do you want to make sure you include all colors of the rainbow? Do you just want to do brown? Do you just want to do birds of prey? Really get your notes nice and tight, okay? Because if you go to sit down and you're like, I don't know what to do. I know I want to do birds. You can spend hours getting your notes together. You could spend hours looking for high resolution reference photos to help you make sure, you're getting the eye color correct. You just want to have as much prep as possible, so you don't have to do that. So the day of, you just sit down and you just start creating. You just start drawing. You just start whatever you're doing. You don't want to have to sit there and spend the time that you've chunked out for creating looking stuff up. That is what these last few days of September are for. So maybe you need a list of ideas and botanicals, things that grow in your area, homes, architecture, portraits, figure drawing. Maybe it's just stuff off your favorite Pinterest board. There's so many different things you can do and incorporate. Maybe you just want to draw the art supplies you own or something. Or you just want to try it. I just want to try seeing what drawing for 31 days looks like. How do I start that? How do I create that? And I find habit stacking to be really, really helpful. Habit stacking is taking a habit you already have and adding another habit or routine on top of it. So figure out when you sit down at your desk, don't have a desk, figure out when you are the most creative, or when you tend to draw or create the most. Is it an afternoon thing? Is it a morning thing? Is it an evening thing? Lean into that. Don't ignore that. That's your sweet spot. That's your sweet time. I really like drawing in the evenings around dinner time. That's my thing. I'm a night person anyway. Hello, Night Owl Club. Welcome. I'm just not an early bird. I'm not a morning person unless I'm staying up late for it. So really figure out where you're at and figure out how to build that to that. So if you journal in the evenings, add a sketch with your journaling and then do that for 31 days. You've stuck one habit on top of another habit and you made that viable. You made that work for you because you already had an established habit. If you like to start your mornings off with some tea or some coffee and you like to sit there and just kind of space out, or maybe you scroll on like Instagram or TikTok or one of those things, boredom scrolling while you're drinking your tea or coffee, have a sketchbook there instead and start drawing. Use that 10 to 15 minutes to draw instead, and then congratulations, you've drawn every day for 31 days. But don't start thinking ahead too much. Don't get in your head about it. Really distract yourself with something else going on. And it can really help you because sometimes we tend to overthink. And the more we overthink, the more we're like, this isn't going to work. I don't want to do this. How am I going to do this? And sometimes we tank our own progress and we tank our own ideas. But again, if October isn't your month, or you just don't, October's a rest month for you. And some people have those like creative rest months. Well, they'll have a month or a month or two where they do a lot of high production of a lot of art and pieces and things, and then they need months off. And October isn't the month for that. If you still want to do a sketchbook challenge, figure out how to make that as relaxing as possible. And that wouldn't be having every single medium option choice available to you because decision fatigue is a thing. So close your eyes, grab one color, that's the color you're working with, and just get to drawing, get to creating. Do light little doodles. It doesn't have to be what we see on Instagram and what we see other creators posting is their finalized work of things that they're creating. But a lot of folks don't put on there or publish their unfinished ideas, their original iterations, the sketch behind the finished product. And that's still an important part of the process. And that's still something that a lot of creators do and have. And that is something that you could totally lean into for 31 days. 31 days is a big month. It just is. So if that sounds uninteresting or daunting or not for you, every other day. You can do one sketch, one idea every other day. You can do one idea for 2 days in a row. Like there's nothing that says you can't just do one a week and still be part of an October drawing challenge. It's just how you want to highlight that and demonstrate that for yourself. So make your notes. If you want to do animals, make a huge list of every animal that's your favorite. And maybe if you've done drawing challenges before, you want to do a different animal and do a different medium every single day and increase your challenge that way. Just really think about what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what holds your interest, how to make this happen. If things are getting too big, like this just doesn't work, this is too big, work smaller. If you are just getting absolutely bored and you're like, I can't get past day 12. Why can't I get past day 12 or day 17? Switch to another sketchbook. There's nothing that says you have to stay in the exact same sketchbook for the whole challenge. You don't have to. This is your sketchbook. This is your process. You're creating. Do what works for you. It doesn't have to look like how anybody else is doing it, because if it doesn't look how anybody else is doing it, odds are you're going to help somebody else that's having trouble and struggling, and it'll give them an idea to figure out what works for them too. We're all in this creative process journey thing together, and we can absolutely feed and encourage each other by breaking out of the mold and trying all these different things. And I really feel like just, creatively, if what you're doing just isn't, it's just not holding your attention, it's not blowing your mind, it's not doing these things for you, figure out how to get them to do that. So if you have to change halfway through, maybe the first half of the month you're doing dry media and one sketchbook. And then you take those 15 ideas and expound on them for the second half of the drawing challenge, and you do wet media and watercolor. There's nothing to say that you can't do that. So if it's just a matter of getting really bored with what you've chosen and it's not for you in that direction, figure out how to change the direction. You know? If this is too big, work half the sheet, okay? And have 2 thumbnails. They can be really tiny. It's okay. They don't have to be huge. We're not comparing our progress to anybody else because our journey is different to everybody else. Nobody has our time. Nobody has our life. Nobody has our struggles. Nobody has our knowledge. Nobody has our life experiences. So we can't compare what we're doing to what somebody else is doing because it's just not the same. You're doing them and you're doing yourself a disservice. So get out of your head about that. Mine doesn't look like theirs. It better not. It better not look like theirs. It better look like yours. Yours is amazing just how it is. So it's okay. It can be just regular, whatever pencil you can find or whatever pen you can find. And it can be 1-inch doodles. That's great. Do that. That's amazing. You kind of want to low-key try something, but you're worried that you'll end up tanking your own progress by feeling discouraged. It's okay to go small. It's okay to set a 5-minute timer. It's really easy to incorporate things sometimes. If you give yourself the grace to understand like smaller time blocks, like do I have 5 minutes? Do I have 3 minutes? What can I get done in 90 seconds? And I have warm-up drawing exercises. You can just do patterns and doodles for 31 days. Dude, that's amazing. Do that. I'm here for that. I think that's a great way to get out of your own head and loosen up and build confidence. And maybe if you want to try a new medium or you want to try a new surface, like just do swirls and doodles and dashes and lines for 30 seconds every single day. If you're bummed out that it's not spooky or something, make sure to incorporate 1 pumpkin in every single doodle. And have the vine go a different direction for 31 days. That's all you have to do. It doesn't have to. And I know we tend to overthink this because it's so heavily promoted and pushed. And there's giveaways attached to some of these drawing challenges. People tag the original creator, and then the real original creator will highlight certain artists, and it feels like people are being rewarded and others are being ignored. That's not what this is for. That's not what it's for. You're just trying to incorporate a fun little thing for yourself to see if it's something you enjoy doing. And then you can expound on that. If you want to keep creating every day, or you realize you really like starting your day doing a 10-minute doodle or a 5-minute doodle, like that's something you enjoy while you're drinking your coffee, keep going. Keep going past October. The reason Slowvember is after all the drawing challenges in October is because people have done too much and they've burned out. So they try and do Slowvember, which is taking one idea, one creation, and doing that over the course of the whole month. I'm just going to create one thing and work on it for 30 days of November. I don't create that way when it comes to things I show online. I create that way for commissions, but I don't create that way for the fun stuff for myself. Fun stuff for myself is like a new thing every day. And you have to figure out what that is for you. And the only way to figure out where you're comfortable or what you're doing or how you want this to look, how you want your drawing challenge to be, how you want to incorporate art in your life is you have to start doing it. You can get all the tips, you can get all the ideas, you can get all the books, you can get all the notes, you can get all the things. But until you sit down and actually start putting like pen to paper, you're not going to know if you enjoy certain things. Like I tried doing it with my coffee and I realized I just like scrolling. It's not for me. I don't like drawing while I'm drinking my coffee. Okay, what about in the afternoon? During a lunch break while you're sitting outside having a sandwich? Did you try that? Did you like that? What about at home in the evenings? No, I'm too tired. It wasn't for me. Okay, well, how long were you trying to draw for? 10 minutes. Okay, try 60 seconds. Try a 60-second thing before you walk out the door or right when you come home. I don't know if people have commercial breaks. I haven't watched TV in forever. I assume people have things that like skip commercials or something. But you can always pause a thing and do a 30-second thing. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to, you know, we've just gotten so overcomplicated with some of this stuff that we've forgotten the whole point and purpose. And the whole point and purpose of this originally was just to create, just to have joy, just to draw every day and give ourselves something. And drawing every day can be so many different things for so many different people. You know, it could be your stress relief, it could be your self-care, it could be your creative time, it can be, you know, if you're looking to create a side hustle and you want to get in the habit of formulating something like that, you got to start somewhere. It could be a great idea to introduce yourself to new mediums and force yourself to be like, okay, well, did I really like this? How will I know if I like this if I don't try it every day for 31 days and see the strengths and the weaknesses of this one product? You know, if you're a crafter, 31 days of cards, I don't know how long it takes to make a card. Or every other day. If you're a sculptor, they don't do a lot of sculpting challenges, but I would try a weekly prompt, especially if you're like working huge with your sculptures. I don't know anything about bronze, so I imagine, you know, maybe every 2 weeks or something. But textile artists, you know how fast you create. So if you're looking to create some ideas and create some scarves or something for Christmas gifts, and you want to hop along and tag yourself creating every day, or knitting every day, or embroidery every day, all a part of one project, do that. I think that's great. I think the more variety that other creators see other folks doing, the more inspired and motivated we feel. Like, look at this person, they're making hats. I love this. Do that. Inspire folks. Let's keep going. Let's keep, like, keeping each other motivated and stuff. So, if you feel inclined, look at some of the prompt lists popping up for October. All you have to do is type in, like, Inktober with the hashtag. And there's many iterations of Inktober or October Drawing Challenge, October Art Challenge. And you will get all the ideas, all the hashtags. I will start posting mine in a couple days. Well, probably tomorrow in my stories and Instagram. There's going to be so many. I probably won't be able to get to everyone's to post, because otherwise I create problems for myself. When you do over 100 different things in your stories, it tends to make Instagram angry. But there's bound to be something for everybody. And again, if you're not seeing what you're loving, create what you want. Just do what you want. You know, maybe you want to do animals, but you want to give them like Halloween clothing, or put them in costumes or something. There's a way to incorporate things that you love with some of the themes, and that becomes a challenge. That becomes a thing you've never done before. And now you can add a new skill set. You can build a new confidence of, yeah, I typically don't do figure drawing, so I decided to draw folks sweater weather. I'm Northern Hemisphere, so lots of folks wearing like cold weather clothing and coats and hats and those types of things. And now I've incorporated that, and I feel a strength to drawing this and incorporating this more. And now I have another skill set that I can add, and everything goes to making you a better creator and a stronger artist. There's really no downside here until it becomes something stressful, or if it's giving you anxiety. If the whole idea of like creating every day in sort of a forced proximity type of deal is making you anxious or nervous, or it just sounds like a nightmare, don't do it. Don't do it. You know you the best. So lean into how it makes you feel. And if it's not making you feel good, don't do it. Don't lean into those pressures. You know, we can congratulate and uplift folks that are doing the thing and be supportive, because that's always nice within the community. But we don't have to do that for ourselves. We could recognize if that's just too much, or that just doesn't sound like fun. If it doesn't sound like fun and you've tried it multiple times, don't keep trying it. Find what does sound like fun and do that instead for October. If taking the month off and just going to pumpkin patches and enjoying fall coffee drinks or something is where you like to spend your October to recharge, don't force yourself to create. take that recharging moment, that month, whatever you need, and that'll help your art in the long run. Because burnout is also legitimate, and people can tend to push themselves to the point where they're just not making anything because they're so burnt out and they didn't give themselves the rest or the break. Give yourself the rest and the break that you need if you need that. It's okay. Doing portraits is a rest and a break for me personally because I enjoy them so much, because I feel so comfortable doing them. They're sort of one of my like sweet spot drawing things. Like it's just a very relaxing meditative thing because I've just done it so many times and I never burn out from drawing someone's face. I don't know what it is about faces, but I'm never tired of it. I just think people are so stunning. So figure out what you want your October to look like, what you want it to feel like for you, and realize that it's like a marathon, not a sprint. So if you've checked in with yourself emotionally and mentally and you're like, yeah, I want to do this, make sure you're getting good rest. Make sure you're eating right, you're hydrating, you're taking care of yourself, you're getting the exercise, you're not just sitting down. Like, it's a very sedentary lifestyle, sitting and creating. So make sure you're getting the exercise to move around. Make sure your body feels good. Take hand breaks. Yep, take breaks for your hands. Different people like doing it different ways. Some people work for 30 minutes, stretch, take a break, walk around. Some people do it every hour. It just depends on how long you plan on sitting and creating for. Self-hand massages, those are a thing. Just use whatever lotion you have and, make sure you wear mittens, protect your hands. They're your best tool here for creating and doing some of this stuff. So make sure they're well protected and well cared for. And you don't want them to get frostbite. You don't want them to be too cold. I'm trying to ease up on some of my gardening because I keep smashing my thumbs and my fingers and stuff. And that's not helping me out any with my drawing. So, I know. It's a face. We can see it, right? Okay, I think we can see it. Okay, so those are kind of my best tips and ideas. Make sure you make lots of notes these next few days. Figure out which prompt list excites you the most, sounds the most interesting. And if you think all this is just bananas and not worth it, then don't do it. So figure out what your body needs, what your mind needs. Really listen to yourself. Give your body that listen to it, give it to it. So if your body's just screaming, we need a break, we need a mental reset, we need a physical reset, we need an art supply reset, give yourself that. Do not keep forcing the issue. It's so detrimental to art. It's so detrimental to burnout and artist block. Like all these things that can happen to artists from just continuing to push when rest should be on the table. That should be a thing that's built into your schedule and built into your life. Just like creating, resting. So give yourself the gift of listening to your body and your mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not doing really any hair, am I? I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. If you have ideas or questions or thoughts or anything you think might help somebody else who wants to take on an October drawing challenge, list it in the description box below. Again, this is your journey. This is your cycle. This is how you move through it with your experiences and your mind and everything going on that's on your plate in your life. So please, please, please draw accordingly. Create accordingly. Go small, go quick. I love it. I'm here for it. If you want to tag me in some of the things you're creating over the month of October in the drawing challenge on Instagram, do that. I want to look at your art. I love looking at art. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.